Hi everyone. I'm going to do some grid journaling today. And I saw this from Kelly Wynn Studios. She has a free class online that you guys can take for free. I know it's going on right now. It may be an ongoing thing, but right now it's free, so I highly recommend it. And it's a way basically to hack quantity in your art making. I used to think that I should perfect one painting before I moved on to the next. Spoiler alert, you can never perfect a painting. You will just stay there forever. And it doesn't really help you improve. What helps you improve faster and get to your own sense of style faster is to increase your quantity of art made. So paint more, draw more, collage more. Do as many different collages as you can, and that's how you get better at collage. Same with every other kind of art. Practice, 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 practice. So this allows you to quickly do 18 tiny little pieces of art. Okay, you could use it to practice specific things. If you want to get better at landscape, abstract landscapes, you could do 18 abstract landscapes. I'm clearly just playing here, just doing whatever I do. And I use some water soluble graphite pencil were my first marks. And what I'm doing right now is I'm using an FW Dollar Rowney acrylic ink, and it's processed magenta. I will tell you that if you do use acrylic ink, expect it to take a long time to dry. So allow yourself time between layers. This actually took me about a half hour, 45 minutes to dry, and that was with using my hair dryer for significant portions in between. So again, if you're in a hurry, I would probably skip this part. Just stick with the pencils. It's a little bit redundant, some of my shapes here, because I did do similar shapes on the first layer also, but that's how I wanted to do it, so that's what I did. And it's your journal, so it's your rules. The nice thing about this too is you get to try 18 tiny paintings or however many you put on your sheet. Um, I used I just traced a little square. So I had a small square plastic from some earrings that I bought, and when you just hang up the earrings on the rack at Macy's or whatever, you have a little plastic card. So I just took that, traced that a bunch of times. You can trace a stack of post-it notes, which is what Kelly does in her video. You can trace a credit card, make some rectangles, whatever you want to do. Anything goes. Much like any art journal, use it the way that you want to use it. You can see in the bottom there, I'm cutting up some of my butcher paper that I lined my desk with. Obviously an older piece of butcher paper. And I'm using distinct groups of collage paper here. I really want all of these 18 to look cohesive, so I'm using the same elements. You saw me use the graphite pencil in every box. You saw me use the acrylic ink in every box. And now I'm using, very intentionally, the same types of colors and papers in most of the boxes. I didn't hit every single one with every single kind of paper. But you'll see as I keep going that things do get cohesive. Well, they kind of are along the way. I'm using a glue stick today instead of my regular gloss medium for a couple reasons. One, I used the water soluble graphite pencil, and since it's water soluble, it will smear if I were to use my medium and drag the color shaper across it. I didn't want any smearing. And also, I just wanted things to dry really quickly. And I wanted to try it because Kelly uses glue sticks in hers, and I thought I would give it a shot. I don't know what the long-term stickability is. This is just a generic glue stick I have that I rated my children's art supplies for. So no long-term promises on glue sticks, but for this exercise it was perfect. As I'm going, you may or may not be noticing that I'm trying to vary the shapes a bit. So I'm using, most of them are rectangles for sure, but I'm using skinnier, taller rectangles. I'm using shorter, more square-like rectangles. I'm cutting some different shapes out of the rectangle so that they're cohesive but also different. This is a really fun exercise. And I actually spent more time on it than I thought I would. I spent probably about an hour, not including the drying time for the ink. And I just kept wanting to play more and more. You could use paint. You could use oil pastels. You could use stamps. Whatever it is that you're interested in, that's the right thing to use. I have a slight obsession with stripes, so I will use stripes. This is also a great way to use up any little scraps that you have because everything's so small. You know, a giant piece of collage paper is not going to serve you well, but all of the teeny little ones that you have left over that perhaps like me you've been hoarding despite them being, you know, garbage for anyone else. This is a great opportunity to use them. One thing to note, if you're using a glue stick, the tissue paper does not become as transparent as it does when you're using gloss medium, which is fine. You use different things for different reasons. You'll notice that even within the pile of black and white papers that I have, I'm intentionally choosing to use some that reference each other. So I'm using these polka dots. Some are on white paper, some are on tissue paper. So they're still enough that they help the cohesiveness of the whole page. And I also have this butterfly wrapping paper that my friend Yana wrapped a present for my kids in. Thanks again, Yana. I've been using this since February in little bits here and there. Just a nice way to mix the colors in. If you're looking for an excuse to hoard more paper, keep cool wrapping paper. This is also a great exercise for if you're traveling, if you're on an airplane. Had I thought about this before I went to my Florida trip, I for sure would have brought a bunch, like just an envelope of collage materials, collage scraps, and this would have kept me busy for a good chunk of the flight. Especially with the glue stick. It couldn't get much easier than a glue stick. It's not very messy. Super quick. I don't know if can you take scissors on a plane? I don't even know. My brother, here's a funny story. So my brother, shortly after 9/11, when the TSA in America was taking any kind of thing that could be possibly used as a weapon out of people's bags at airports, they would just sell those items in bulk on Amazon or eBay. I think maybe eBay. So my brother would bought like, I don't know what poundage, but you could basically buy 50 pounds of scissors, and it would just, everyone's scissors that got taken away from them. Tons of like knitting scissors and really neat bird shaped scissors and just crazy amounts of things. So he one year gave us just giant boxes of scissors for Christmas. My family's weird, but it was so funny. And so I still have tons of scissors. He actually made a sculpture out of them. He was working with glass and metal at that point. They probably still do it. Maybe there's less demand now because people have finally stopped bringing scissors on flights. But if you're looking for something random to hoard, check to see what the TSA is selling on eBay. He also bought us paper clips, like 20 pounds of paper clips, which that is ridiculous amount of paper clips. I think I just gave mine away to some school or something because I maybe used 10 paper clips in a 5-year period, maybe less. Another thing that this is good for, you'll notice that I'm definitely shopping my pieces around to all of the 18. It helps you make quick decisions even when you are trying it on in lots of different places. So I could take one piece, see how it looks with all 18 squares, and it wouldn't take me very long since everything's right there. Rarely do I actually go to all 18. I'm not sure I actually went to all 18 on any one scrap, but there's a balance to strike between trying it on everywhere and just making a decision and sticking with it. But it is fun to try it on. And often what I'm learning is that the first place I tried it on, first place I put that little scrap, is often the place that I come back to, even if I do try it on with many, many other scraps. I almost play a game with it. Hold it up to the first place I think, and then I try it on other places to see if any other place can make it look better than the first one. If it can't, then I go back to the first place and stick it down. So I used to do this, and I think I actually might have a video or two with small squares, but I divided it up with tape. And the benefit of doing that rather than tracing something is that once you take the tape off, all of your edges are very clean. So I have done a lot of that in the past. I just haven't done this where you draw the lines in pencil and then go at it that way. Either way is fine. They're just different ideas, but very similar. There's something so fun about having 18 tiny little paintings at the end of an art session. I'm using Stabilo Woodies now. They're crayons, pencils, I'm not exactly sure what. They're very smooth and silky when you use them, so they're very appealing. They're also water soluble. So you don't want to use wet things after this. Don't mind my children in the background. Sorry. All right, so I just used a few more instances of this light orange Stabilo Woody, and that really also helps with cohesiveness. I think if you look back before I did the orange and after I did the orange, it looks a lot more cohesive now. Using a white just to push things into the background a little bit more. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Let me know if you have any questions.